I want to start with giving a big shout out to my brother Bilal. So, yes. Someone asked me, you beat Elliot Engel, you beat a 31-year incumbent. Like, how did you do that? I can't believe it. It was amazing. No one thought that someone would come along and accomplish this. I want to say a few things about that. Number one, when I ran for office, I wasn't thinking about Elliot Engel. It wasn't about him. It was about the children and the families that I served in public education for 20 years. And it was about the children and families that I served in this district for 10 and a half years. And to see the struggles that they were going through in this country, the wealthiest nation on earth, to see my students dealing with poverty and mental health challenges and housing insecurity and all of the issues that happen in Black and brown communities, to see that and experience that on a daily basis, and to literally see children killing themselves and each other, that was enough for me to run for office, and that was enough motivation for me to think that I could win against a 31-year incumbent. Excellent. Because, the machine, it's almost like an emperor, right? And the emperor and the machine makes you believe that it cannot be beaten, it cannot be changed, it cannot be defeated. But Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez in 2018, under the leadership of Bilal Tahir, showed us that the emperor has no clothes. And then I was the luckiest man on earth in 2019 to find this person through the grace of Allah, the grace of God, to find him to help lead my campaign as well. And, it happened authentically and organically. Someone nominated me to Justice Democrats. He sends me a text message, hey, can you talk? I jump on the phone with him. Immediately there was a connection. It was a great, passionate conversation. And then a couple of weeks later, they said, we want to back you. We want to support you. Let's go get Elliot Engel. And I didn't realize, I had no idea. I was naive. And sometimes naivety is good. You don't know what you don't know. But I did know one thing. Right after we launched our campaign, June 18th. June 18th on a Thursday, I think, or Wednesday. His birthday.
Happy birthday.
We launched our campaign on June 18th. The next day or 2 days later, I called Bilal and I'm like, when are we going to go knock on doors?
Oh my God.
Because I knew Elliot Engel wasn't going to outwork us, and the machine wasn't going to outwork us. And I wanted to connect with as many people as possible in the community so I could listen to them, I could engage with them, I could learn from them, I could understand their issues, and I could give them a chance to meet me and understand me. That's what I wanted to do. And what was so beautiful about it, and it's what we're still doing right now, it helped us to build community. Our communities are so separated and segregated, right? You got Muslims over here, Christians over here, Jews over here, Buddhist people over here, non-practicing over here. You have white, black in separate places, Latino, Asian separate places. You got rich, poor, everyone is segregated. And we oftentimes, that separation makes us weak, and we fight each other with a scarcity mindset, as if there's not enough resources for everyone to share in this beautiful, abundant world. But for us, from the very beginning, it was always about building a diverse coalition, not just to win the election, but to build power in the district, across the country, and around the world. So when Bilal talks about my foreign policy is simple: human rights. Human rights. Wherever there is apartheid, genocide, war, famine, disease, America should use all of its resources and power to do something to change that. We should not allow it to just persist and exist. And the reason why we do that is because we think it makes us more powerful. But if we were smart, we would know it makes us more enemies. It makes us more enemies, and it makes people want to come and harm us. So let us use our power as a nation. Let us use our military to build more homes. Let us use our military to create more renewable energy and sustainable energy and end our dependency on fossil fuels. Let us use the power of our government to uplift and support people in other countries, not to police the world and force them to be like us. Every country has its beautiful culture and ethnicity. That should be allowed to sustain and rise within the framework of whatever that country wants. We are not the police of the world. We could be so much more than that. So my foreign policy is simply rooted in that, helping people who need the help and uplifting the humanity of everyone. We also we had a conversation, me and the gentleman in the back, about immigration reform. And right now we are trying to go through a process in Congress called reconciliation, where we're trying to have immigration policy be a part of this. And this is so important because all economists, even bipartisan economists, Republican and Democrats, say if we have comprehensive immigration reform, it will transform our economy and make it robust for everyone. But Republicans continue to stop this because they want this to continue to be a world of white supremacy. And that is unacceptable. And I'm one of the few elected officials anywhere in the country that will call that white supremacy. But that's exactly what it is. And it's also European settler colonialism. When the West colonized the world, they stripped us of our cultures and forced us to learn under their European system. And even though they physically left, the education system still controls the mind. So that's why it's important for us to maintain our culture as well. Yes. That's why it's important for us to maintain our culture as well. And the brother reminded me to make sure to talk about what's happening with the Kashmiri people. And once Bilal educated me on what was going on over there, I immediately spoke out against it. But we have to do more than have one congressperson speak out against the genocide that's happening to the Kashmiri people and what's happening there. So I have to be a part of leading people in Congress to do more than just a tweet. We have to move the White House and President Biden to speak out more and act more to make sure what's happening there stops. That is part of my job, and I hope to have your support in getting this done. So, you have a friend in Congress in me. You have an ally in Congress with me. Bilal is my brother for life. Whatever he tells me to do, I'm going to do. Most things. Maybe not most things. Maybe like 40% of things. But if it's related to the Pakistani community, I'm going to do it.
Brother from the other mother.
Brother from the other mother. Can I also say something about the gentleman that came up and shared a surah from the Quran? Thank you for that. The call to prayer, the Muslim call to prayer, is the most beautiful sound I've ever heard in the world. And I think it's important for the people in this country to hear that sound more and really know what it is, because I think there's so many people ignorant to what it is. And I'm blessed because I grew up in a very diverse community, so I have friends from Egypt, from Palestine, from all over the world. So I know that sound very well because my best friend is Tariq Zoni from Egypt, and I go to his house and eat dinner anytime I want with his mom. But that is what I'm all about when it comes to our humanity, building bridges. We are more the same than we are different, but our differences are beautiful and make us a wonderful human race. But how do we leverage those differences to solve the real world problems that we're dealing with today? I believe if we come together across race and class and religion, our differences, we solve the problem of climate change. We cure cancers that are currently incurable. We educate every child. We end poverty. We stop the forever wars. Because war is the stupidest thing in the world, to kill people indiscriminately. So before I came to Congress, I was in education for 20 years. It was that experience that led me to running for office, in addition to being inspired by Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez and Congresswoman Ayanna Presley, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib. I was so inspired by them because they were finally talking about working class people and making sure we deal with the issue of inequality. And if you look at this district, right, so we're in this part of the district. I want you all to come spend some time with me in the Northeast Bronx and see the neglect and despair and marginalization and suffering that is still happening over there. And then people act like, oh, why is there gun violence? It's gun violence because people are living in despair. When you put people in despair, they are going to ultimately hurt each other because each one is trying to survive. That's true. Each one is trying to survive. That's right. So if we really want to deal with that issue, we have to invest in housing and healthcare and education and programs and mental health and opportunity in every part of the country. We need that. And as a former educator, it's not just about getting people to baseline, because right now people are below baseline. They're like negative, whatever. We want to get them to baseline, but then we want to create a circumstance where they can thrive and we can unlock their full potential. And I've worked with kids who have come from some challenging backgrounds, but despite their poverty, despite their challenges, despite their suffering, they came to school ready, willing, and able to learn whatever you put in front of them. The ambition and the naivete of a child is what we all need to exist within, because they can teach us so much, because they don't care. They just want an opportunity. So it's my job in Congress, part of my job, is to make sure to give every single child on the planet Earth an opportunity to unlock their full potential and manifest their best selves. That is my role. That is my job. That is something I'm going to take that to my grave. In addition to all the other issues, children are the most important resource we have in the world to solve the world's problems. So thank you so much for your support. This is always so humbling to me for anybody to come out and hear me say anything. I don't think anyone cares. And I want to tell, I never said this to Bilal. This is one of the reasons why I love him. This is why he's good at his job. He used to be an engineer. He's still an engineer, but he was formerly an engineer. Now he's a political something. I don't even know what you call it. Organizer. But you know, Bilal said to me when I was still considering if I was going to run or not, but Bilal said to me, the world needs to hear your voice. I don't know if you remember saying that. He doesn't. He said the world needs to hear your voice. And he was trying to talk me into running. That's why he said that. But it was a good line. It was a very good line. And it worked. And thank God, you know, 2 years later, it seems like people are listening a little bit. So that's awesome. So God bless you all. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being here. Hey, we got a standing ovation. You're standing up. Everybody want to stand? Can I get a standing ovation? But thank you all for being here. Thank you for your support. And please, whatever you can give, whatever you can afford is incredibly helpful. And the more generous you are, the more radical I get to be. And I like to be radical because this system needs radical change. So God bless you. I love you. Thank you.
Jamaal, say something about Pakistani community. How do you?
Yes. So like I said, I'm a friend of Pakistan, a friend to Pakistan, and will always be a friend and ally to Pakistan. I have been invited to go to Pakistan by the Embassy of Pakistan, Ambassador of Pakistan, which is great. I just met with the Pakistani ambassador this week. They invited me to come to the country, so I will be going to the country. And let's build and strengthen the relationship between the United States and Pakistan.
Pakistani community in USA.
Say it again?
Pakistani community in USA.
Yes. Shout out to the Pakistani community in America. Please come to New York 16 and I will come to you. We have to strengthen our community and be in solidarity with each other, but then also other black and brown communities as well for human rights and human dignity. Peace and love. You got that? That works?
Yes.
Okay, brother. All right, let's hang out, have some food. Love you too, man. Let's